Radio. Málaga Radio.
The sun is shining. The sun is shining down on us. There's nowhere I'd rather be. There's nowhere I'd rather be.
Hey there, adventurers. I'm Mitch, and I'm excited to welcome you to our brand new series, Active Adventures on Málaga Radio. We're all about diving into the amazing recreational activities and sports that you can enjoy right here in Málaga and the Costa del Sol.
There's nowhere I'd rather be.
Whether you're into hiking, water sports, wellness retreats, or just exploring the great outdoors, we've got you covered. Each episode will take you on a journey to discover the best spots, share insider tips, and hear from locals and experts who live and breathe these adventures. There are a few of us involved, all doing what we love and talking about it. So grab your gear and let's get ready to explore.
The sun is shining.
Hey there, lovely people. I'm Lumi, and this is Active Adventures on Málaga Radio, where we explore the Costa del Sol, not just as a place to visit, but as a place to truly feel alive. Today, I want to take you on a different kind of ride. One that starts not with a training plan or a calorie count, but with something much simpler. The feeling of fresh air on your face, sun on your skin, and that deep, grounding joy of moving your body through beautiful places. This morning, I set out just after sunrise, no destination in mind, just the coast beside me and the rhythm of the pedals to keep me company. And as I cruised past sleepy cafes and watched the sky turn gold, I was reminded why cycling here feels less like a workout and more like a gift. Costa del Sol isn't just for professional cyclists or adrenaline junkies. It's for anyone who wants to move, breathe, explore, and maybe even find a little freedom along the way. So wherever you're listening from, whether you're a local, a visitor, or someone just dreaming of your next adventure, this episode is for you. Let's take a ride through what makes this region one of Europe's most magical cycling destinations. Let's start with the big picture. Why is Costa del Sol such a dream for cyclists? Well, first off, it's the variety. In a single weekend, you could be pedaling along the glittering coastline, winding your way through olive groves, or climbing into the misty mountains of the interior. It's like having 5 different cycling holidays in one destination. There's something incredibly special about this part of Andalusia. The landscapes change quickly. One moment you're passing palm limb promenades, and the next you're tucked into a narrow trail between whitewashed villages that feel like they've been frozen in time. You don't just see Costa del Sol on a bike, you feel it all around you. But it's not just the beauty. The region has over 300 days of sunshine a year, which means cycling is a year-round activity here. Spring and autumn are especially magical. Mild temperatures, wildflowers blooming, crisp morning air. Even in winter, a sunny midday ride along the coast can feel like summer in Northern Europe. And then there's the vibe. This isn't a place where you have to be in lycra with a heart rate monitor to fit in. Here, cycling is as much about lifestyle as it is about sport. It's about stopping for coffee in a sunlit plaza, discovering that tiny beach cove you'd never find by car, or riding just far enough to earn your tapas and wine at sunset. The roads, smooth, scenic, and surprisingly quiet in the right places. There are also more and more cycle-friendly routes being added every year thanks to local tourism investment, including La Gran Senda de Málaga, which we'll talk more about later in the series. So whether you're on a road bike, a rental e-bike, or just cruising with a backpack and no plan, Costa del Sol opens up to you in the best way, gently, beautifully, and on your own terms. You know, something that's really shifted for me and for so many people I meet here is how we think about fitness. We've been taught to see it as a chore, haven't we? Something you schedule in between meetings and errands, something that involves memberships and timers and tracking apps. But here on the Costa del Sol, there's a completely different rhythm, one that feels a lot more human. Cycling becomes less about performance and more about pleasure. It's not about how far or how fast, it's about how good it feels to move. That's the idea behind what we call recreational fitness, and it's a big part of what we're exploring in this podcast series and in our newly refreshed Feel the Pulse radio show. It's about weaving movement into your everyday life, not because you have to. Because the truth is, movement doesn't need to happen in a gym to be good for you. In fact, it might be even better when it happens outdoors, surrounded by nature and powered by curiosity instead of obligation. Like when you cycle through a sleepy village at golden hour, or coast down a hill with the breeze in your face, or when you follow a quiet path just to see where it leads. These moments don't just work your body, they reset your mind. They bring clarity. They create space for joy. And maybe that's the real magic here. On a bike, fitness becomes freedom. It becomes a way to reconnect with your surroundings, with your breath, with your sense of self. So if you've ever said, I wish I liked exercise, maybe this is your invitation to try a different kind, one with less pressure and a whole lot more sunshine. So if you're still with me and maybe already picturing yourself out there on two wheels, let me tell you a bit about what's coming up in this podcast series. Over the next few episodes, we're going to explore the Costa del Sol through the lens of cycling, but not in the way you might expect. This isn't a series for elite athletes or competitive riders. It's for you. If you're curious, if you're looking to feel better, or if you're simply ready to explore the region in a more mindful, connected way. We'll cover scenic road cycling routes and the best coastal views on two wheels, mountain biking trails that bring out your adventurous side, bike rental options and guided tours for every ability, wellness rides and slow travel experiences, e-bikes and alternative ways to ride. Local cycling culture, from tour providers to social cycling clubs, and of course, how to stay safe, prepared, and confident on your rides. Each episode is built to inspire, not overwhelm. We'll keep things practical, honest, and personal. I'll share my own stories, some helpful tips, and a few mistakes I've made along the way, because that's how real adventures happen. You don't need fancy gear or a training plan. You just need a little curiosity and maybe a helmet. So whether you're dreaming of your first ride or ready to explore somewhere new, this series is your companion on the road. Let's ride together. One of the things I love most about the Costa del Sol is that it's not just a place to see. It's a place that invites you to move. The region moves with you. You've got the sea on one side and mountains on the other, long open coastal roads where the air smells like salt and orange blossom, winding trails that lead up into hills dotted with almond trees, and tiny villages where time seems to slow down. It's all here, and it's all made for cycling. If you're staying along the coast, you can follow beachside promenades that stretch for miles. The ride from Málaga to Torremolinos is a gentle one, perfect for beginners or for anyone who just wants to feel the breeze and hear the waves. You can stop for coffee by the marina or grab a fresh juice along the way. It's not a race, it's a rhythm. head inland and the terrain changes, slowly at first. Then suddenly you're climbing through olive groves and pine forests with panoramic views opening up behind every bend. Places like Frigiliana, Ronda, and Mijas aren't just beautiful destinations. They're experiences on a bike. You earn those views, and somehow that makes them sweeter. Even the towns themselves feel cycle-friendly. Narrow streets, little plazas, calm pace. You don't need to rush. You just roll through, wave at a local, stop for tapas, keep going. And for those who want a little adventure, the region has you covered. From hidden rural trails to mountain switchbacks, there's always a path less traveled just waiting for you to find it. In Costa del Sol, the landscape doesn't push you, it pulls you. It whispers, come this way, let's explore. One of the hidden superpowers of cycling in the Costa del Sol is the calendar. Unlike so many destinations where the season is short and sharp, this region offers something almost magical, year-round riding. Spring is my personal favorite. The air is crisp in the morning, the hillsides are bursting with wildflowers, and the villages start waking up with local festivals and sunny terraces. It's that sweet spot where the heat hasn't arrived yet, but the sunshine already feels like a hug. Autumn is just as special. The crowds thin out, the light gets warmer, and the golden tones of the countryside make every ride feel cinematic. It's the perfect time for longer, relaxed rides, especially inland, where the air starts to cool, but the days are still long. Now, summer, it gets a bit intense. But don't worry, it doesn't mean cycling is off the table. You just ride early. I'm talking sunrise rides, coastal breezes, and the reward of a shady cafe before most people have even had breakfast. Or, if you're feeling bold, late evening spins with golden hour views and a scent of jasmine in the air. And yes, even winter has its charm. On most days, you can ride comfortably in a light jacket, especially along the coast. It's peaceful, calm, and if you're visiting from a colder country, honestly, it feels like cheating. Each season brings its own texture to the experience. The key is simply listening to the weather, to your body, to what kind of ride feels right that day. Because here, movement is always in season. So maybe you're listening to all this and thinking, okay, it sounds beautiful, but do I need to bring my own bike? What if I'm not that experienced? Where do I even start? Let me put your mind at ease. You don't need to be a seasoned cyclist or own fancy gear to enjoy cycling here. In fact, the Costa del Sol is perfect for beginners and casual riders. Wherever you are, whether it's Málaga City, Marbella, Nerja, or Ronda, you'll find plenty of bike rental shops offering everything from sleek road bikes to comfy cruisers and electric bikes for those hilly days. A lot of these places also offer guided tours, which I highly recommend if you're new to the area or just want someone else to handle the planning. You'll not only get local insights and safer routes, but often discover places you wouldn't have found on your own. One of my favorite experiences was renting an e-bike for a late afternoon ride through the back roads of Frigiliana. The shop staff gave me a map, a few local tips, and off I went. No pressure, no rush, just exploring at my own pace. I ended the ride with a lemon granacero in the plaza, watching the light fade over the hills. And don't worry if you haven't been on a bike in a while. Most rentals offer helmets, locks, and basic safety tips. Some even have panniers or child seats, so families can join in too. Whether you want a short, scenic hour or a full-day adventure, it's all easy to set up. The hardest part, honestly, just deciding which view you want to ride toward first. One of the reasons I fell in love with cycling here isn't just the scenery. It's the feeling it creates. There is something deeply grounding about moving through a landscape with your own energy. No engine, no noise, just your breath, your rhythm, and the steady sound of the wheels turning beneath you. Cycling in this part of the world becomes a kind of moving meditation. You're in motion, but you're also completely present. You notice the almond blossoms as they flutter across the path, the way the sea changes color depending on the hour, the smell of wood smoke from a nearby village. It slows your mind down, even as your body is working. And those little moments, they stay with you more than any hotel or souvenir ever could. I still remember the first time I rode a hillside trail just outside Miras. The sun was setting, casting these golden shadows across the valley. There were no cars, no crowds, just me, the path, and a quiet. I didn't realize I'd been needing. That's the beauty of recreational fitness. You're not just ticking off a workout, you're creating memories. And often those are the moments that reconnect us to ourselves, especially in a world that moves so fast with so many distractions. So whether it's a solo ride to clear your head, a morning loop with a friend, or a spontaneous sunset cycle with your partner, these experiences have the power to shift your whole day, maybe even your whole week. And honestly, you don't need to go far. Some of the best rides start just outside your door. Before we wrap up today's ride, a quick note to anyone listening who's part of the cycling community here on the Costa del Sol. If you run a bike rental shop, offer guided tours, or you're part of a local cycling club, we'd love to hear from you. This series is all about showcasing the people and places that make cycling here so special. You might be featured in a future episode, added to our local spotlight on malagaradio.net, or invited to share your tips and routes with our listeners. So, if you'd like to be part of the journey, just visit malagaradio.met and drop us a message, or email me directly at lumi@malagaradio.com. We're building something beautiful together, and we'd love to include you in it. So, whether you're already mapping out your next ride or just letting the ideas settle in, I hope today's episode gave you a fresh perspective on what cycling can be. Costa del Sol isn't just a backdrop, it's an invitation to move, to breathe, to reconnect. And remember, this is just the beginning. Over the next episodes, we'll dive into scenic road routes, mountain biking adventures, e-bike explorations, mindful rides, safety tips, and so much more, all designed to help you fall in love with movement in a way that feels natural, joyful, and personal. But hey, if cycling isn't your thing, don't worry. At Malaga Radio, we've got a whole world of active adventures to explore. From hiking to sailing, golf to paddleboarding, yoga retreats to camper van escapes, you'll find episodes that speak to every kind of explorer. And if you prefer tuning in live, catch us on Feel the Pulse every day from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. where Mitch, Finn and I take you through wellness, movement, local experiences, and how to live well on the Costa del Sol, one beautiful day at a time. Wherever you're starting from, just know this. There's no perfect plan, no ideal route, just the first step, or in this case, the first turn of the pedals. So go at your pace, explore, enjoy the ride, and when you're ready, we'll be right here, waiting to ride with you again. Thanks for listening, and hasta luego.
Malaga Radio, the perfect vacation station.